Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmIOverReacting for you all. As per usual, I'll be going through the post, giving you my opinion at the end, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. No Journalist 5160. Am I overreacting? Both my husband's parents are mad at us for being unreasonable about our daughter. This might be long and messy, but I'm just exhausted and frustrated. My husband, 30 male, and I, 30 female, have a daughter who is 15 months. He has always had a good relationship with his parents, and I have as well. No issues during our relationship, no issues before or since our marriage, and no issues regarding our daughter. She's their first grandchild. Things have been completely fine until recently. This started to change about 3 months ago when my in-laws moved into a new house about an hour away from us. The first real issue came up because their new house has a pool. While talking with my mother-in-law, she mentioned wanting to host big backyard parties and watch our daughter regularly at her new house since we both work, and she doesn't want us to send her to daycare anymore. She also doesn't want to watch her at ours because we live in the city and she doesn't like it here. I told her that I would feel much more comfortable, both in general, but especially if she were watching our daughter alone all day, if they installed a pool fence this summer/spring since my daughter is starting to walk. My husband agreed and even offered to pay for it. However, my mother-in-law is refusing, saying that a pool fence would ruin the vision she has for her backyard. My father-in-law also refused, saying he did not want to deal with a removable fence, which was a compromise my husband tried to make. About a month after this, she asked me if I was still going to send our daughter to daycare, and I just said yes. Since I said I would still be doing daycare, she's been talking to me less but is still speaking to my husband regularly, even though this was a decision between both of us. It also wasn't just about the pool gate. Daycare is so much closer. The second issue came up at the 100-person Christmas party they throw every year. This is usually done before Christmas. This year, it was the 21st. The only issue I have with this party is that everybody gets sick every year. Last year, we did not go to the party as she was very little and the party is loud and overstimulating, plus the everyone getting sick thing. This year, his parents asked us to go, and we did, but we decided not to let anyone hold her, kiss her, or hug her. I don't regret this because, once again, this party ended with everyone getting the flu except a few people, including the three of us. This issue actually continued into Christmas Eve and day, as they asked us to bring her to see them, even though they actively have the flu, mind you. My husband told them no, and now they're angry with us. My mother-in-law told us over the phone that we're being unreasonable and implied we don't trust them to make sure my child doesn't fall in their pool or get her sick. My father-in-law is offended. We won't let them watch her alone, and they both claim we're overreacting about the flu. They even said that my mom is getting better treatment because I haven't said anything about her not being allowed to watch my daughter when she also has a pool. She put a pool fence up before she was even born without us asking, and the kid is still going to daycare, not my mom's. I really want to tell them that me not trusting them isn't true, but I feel like I'm starting to trust them less and less. Still, this is my first child and they've had 5, so I have to ask, am I overreacting? Edit, this is kind of getting a lot of comments, so I'm going to answer a few questions I'm getting. Why would you bring her to the party instead of staying home? His parents kept asking, and we wanted to avoid more issues after the pool conversation. They were fine with us not letting anyone hold her until a distant family member that I had never met complained they couldn't hold her. Does she expect you to bring your daughter an hour both ways for childcare? Short answer, I think so. Long answer, we talked about her watching her prior to their move when they lived closer, and I guess she still thinks it's an option. She's never offered to come pick her up. Are they supposed to have a fence? Maybe, now that I'm looking into it. The laws are kind of confusing and I know nothing about pools. I'm having my husband look. As far as I know, this pool has never had a fence. Why are you so freaked out about the flu? The flu has killed children. As a not-so-fun fact, according to the New England Journal of Medicine, in 2020, drowning was the 6th most common cause of death among minors. Now, when it comes to accidental deaths, it's the #1 cause. for kids aged 1 through 4. It is perfectly reasonable and understandable to require that if your child is going to be staying in an area for an extended period of time, that it has the proper safety precautions taken into account. That is nowhere even close to being unreasonable. They can't just refuse to abide by the requirements that you've set in place to make sure your child is safe, and then still expect that everything will just continue as if no boundaries have been put down. If they can't be bothered dealing with a removable fence around their pool, then why should you be bothered with risking your child at their home? Hell, even in general, they seem to have little to no regard for your child's actual safety. We have in-laws who want all the perks of being a grandparent with disregarding all the responsibility that comes alongside it. They've literally admitted that they care more about the aesthetics of their backyard than the safety of their grandchild. And all it takes is just one mistake. 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, where their attention's somewhere else. And the back door was left cracked open and the waddling toddler finds their way to an open body of water. It only takes one instance, one moment, one mistake. And do you know what would prevent that? A fucking fence that ruins the aesthetic of their backyard. Yeah, no thanks. On top of the fact that they want OP to drive and drop the kid off, yeah, grandma's daycare aspirations have been very short-lived. Curious little peach. Am I overreacting for being upset at a joke birthday gift from my boyfriend's parents? My 26 female, boyfriend 25 male, and I have been together for over a year, and we live together. I've spent lots of time with his parents as their first house is very local to us. I've always found them a bit distant and have questioned boyfriend before on whether or not he thinks they like me. However, he's assured me that he thinks they do like me and has expressed his family are just different from mine. My family are very close and affectionate. My parents buy boyfriend birthday presents, and I bought his mom a bracelet for her 60th. She said she loved it and has worn it every time I have seen her since. However, I did not expect a gift back from his parents for my birthday, and it wasn't a special age. We visited his parents at their second home earlier this week and stayed overnight. We went to the pub, had drinks, and his mom cooked some lovely food for us. As we were leaving, I thanked them for having us, and his mom gave me a card and told me there was a birthday present for me on the chair, and she was sorry for not wrapping it. It was a sealed cardboard box, and when I picked it up, it was really heavy. I gave them a hug, thanked them, and said that it really meant a lot that they'd gotten me a gift, and I was so grateful. To which his mom smiled and said I was very welcome. I was super excited to open the gift on the morning of my birthday, yesterday, and it was hand sanitizer. 8 bottles of hand sanitizer that she had taken from the school she works at. She has previously asked me a few times if I wanted these bottles, and I had politely declined, explaining I had plenty already. Boyfriend said it was probably a mix-up and messaged her, but she then messaged me saying, "It was just a joke, LOL. Thought you might want them for work." I was crushed. Boyfriend asked me if I was okay, and I burst into tears. I told him that this really hurt my feelings and questioned if they had done something like this before. He admitted they hadn't, and that they used to buy gifts for his ex-girlfriend's birthday, who he was with for 5 years, and his parents described as controlling. I never expected a present and would have been absolutely fine with getting nothing, or even being told beforehand that it was only a jokey present. It put a big downer on the day, but boyfriend took me out to buy a birthday gift from him. And my parents took me and boyfriend out for a lovely meal and paid for it. So the rest of the day was wonderful, and I'm very lucky. Boyfriend and I spoke about it again today, and he told me he's going to speak to his parents and explain that this hurt my feelings. He thinks they didn't mean anything harmful by it, but agrees with me that it ended up being a hurtful thing to do, and he doesn't understand why they did it. Am I overreacting for being upset at this? While the gift wasn't anything nasty, the whole scenario has made me feel embarrassed, and I struggle to understand what is funny about the joke. It may be worth noting that I'm currently being assessed for ADHD, and I sometimes struggle to process/rationalize my emotions. Nah, you're totally fine. This isn't an ADHD thing. This is just them being weird as hell, and kind of just... ugh. This is also in very nice, stark contrast to one of yesterday's stories where OP's boyfriend's family showed up with ugly Christmas sweaters with her face screen printed on them. In this case, we have a boyfriend who's standing by his partner and be like, no, this is weird as hell. I'm sorry they did this. I'm sure they didn't mean anything by it, but like, yeah, what the hell? So it's nice seeing that. We have a similar scenario, and it wasn't oh, it's just a joke. Don't get too hurt by it. It's an actual genuine response and understanding that, yeah, people will react differently to different things, and some people might be hurt by things that others find funny. That's just how it is with different people and different upbringings. And the boyfriend is doing good in this one compared to the other one, who did very bad. And while you can't pick your family, you can pick how you react to the bullshit your family might do. Also, like on a side note, why the hell is she gifting stolen office supplies, or school supplies for that matter? She works in a school and she stole school supplies and is pawning them off as a joke gift. What the hell? Throwaway diss 2. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend secretly trolls women online and it gave me the biggest ick. New account because I don't use Reddit and this is my first time posting. I, 25 female, have been with my boyfriend, 26 male, for 3 years and we live together. Overall, he's always been sweet, funny, and kind. We argue sometimes, but nothing serious. He always told me he doesn't really use social media, just Snapchat, or so I thought. Last night we were smoking and hanging out when he went to the gas station. While he was gone, I kept hearing a weird vibration/dinging noise. Eventually I realized it was coming from under our dresser. I pulled out an iPad I had never seen before. It was covered in stickers from his video games, and the wallpaper was a picture of our dog. So it was clearly his. I had no idea he even owned an iPad. Once I got in, I saw non-stop notifications from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, literally everything. All the accounts were anonymous/spam looking, but they were all tied to his email. I started opening the notifications and I was honestly disgusted. He was commenting on women's bodies, saying they needed more makeup, body shaming them, leaving hateful comments on YouTube, and trolling people on Reddit with fake cringe stories. I wonder how many I've fallen for. On Twitter and Instagram, he was constantly insulting people for no reason. But nothing prepared me for what I found next. I like to game and live stream with my friends a few times a week just for fun. For the past year, there's been this one account that always joins our stream and says the most racist and vile things, telling us we need more makeup, should dress sexier, insulting our looks, and sending us awful messages about how nobody would want to watch us looking like that. It got so bad that when we blocked the account, they would just make new ones. We eventually stopped streaming 6 months ago because of it. I almost filed a police report at one point. I realized last night it was my boyfriend. He's been trolling me and my friends the entire time. This wasn't just popping in and leaving. He would stay the entire live stream saying horrible personal things about us. I genuinely don't understand why someone would do this to their girlfriend. I thought our relationship was good. I haven't told him yet. I've been at my friend's house all day because I can't even look at him without feeling sick. Am I overreacting if I break up with him over this? My friend thinks filing a restraining order is over the top and can ruin his career. For context, I'm a black woman, and no, I'm not a stay-at-home. I do have a job that's part-time while still doing school. My boyfriend is biracial, Mexican/white. My boyfriend is a full-time worker at a really nice known paid job. Before we dated, we had known each other since my freshman year of high school. I did take his iPad with me to my friend's house. We did more digging and found some other stuff that I've documented to take pictures of before the end of the day. I plan on returning the iPad back to where it was, but I do not think I could fake the relationship or leave quietly. Honestly, I think it's best if I just drop everything and leave and make the police report. Also, I do plan on leaving him, but is the restraining and police report too far? Honestly, I would say it wouldn't hurt trying. Make sure you just get all documentation and evidence that you have, and then go for it. If I had to guess, the whole reason for the alt accounts was to purposely make you stop streaming. He wasn't comfortable with the idea of his girlfriend streaming, so he took matters into his own hand. Supportive on one side, making alt accounts to harass you on the other, to make you shut down, to make you stop. God knows I've dealt with my fair share of alt accounts harassing my comment sections. Ugh. Full disclosure, I also have alt accounts that I use to target people online, but they're for targeting racists and Nazis and horrible people. I actually made one of those Nazi troll accounts where it's like, if you block me, I win. Block me, because I told him I'd suck his toes so hard he'd wake up in another country. So I understand wanting to fight with people on the internet and enjoying getting your kicks off by just arguing with people. But you can do it in ways that aren't, like, disgusting. This man has some serious issues, and you are 100% justified in getting the hell out of there and also pursuing a police report and restraining order. It may not be granted, but it's definitely something to at least try. This is also the kind of guy that if she does actually get the restraining order or leaves him for his behavior, he would definitely respond with, "See, I knew it! All women are like this!" And he's going to be destined to live a self-fulfilling, lonely lifestyle because for some reason he likes punching down instead of punching up. Cross-column bidet. Am I overreacting? My husband hurt me while roughhousing and reacted badly when I got upset. My husband and I are on a vacation with his family right now. Things were going fine, but this morning, when I was coming out of the bathroom, he jumped in front of me and made a "ha" sound to jump scare me. I laughed and gently/playfully shoved his shoulder. Immediately, he turned and, while laughing, punched me in the space between my stomach and chest. The diaphragm, I'm not sure. It really hurt, and I bent over trying to catch my breath. He kept laughing until he realized I had started to cry. We went into our bedroom and I cried, but he was still chuckling as he apologized, which I called him out for. He says he didn't mean to hurt me and didn't think he had tapped me that hard. I told him he didn't tap me, that he punched me. He said he thought we were just roughhousing and that he uses more strength when playing with the dog, so he thought I should just be tougher. I told him that I know he wasn't trying to hurt me, but that his reaction to hurting me was what was upsetting because he kept apologizing, but the apologies felt exasperated and annoyed based on his tone and body language, like he was just apologizing so I would get over it. I kept trying to calmly explain my feelings to him, but he kept getting more and more frustrated. Eventually, he left the room saying he just wanted to spend the last day of the vacation with his family and that he was really happy that this was how we were starting the new year. Sarcastically. I'm laying alone in our bedroom, feeling like there's nothing I can do. I'm emotionally hurting and it doesn't feel like he cares. I don't want to sound dramatic, but you just got a glimpse into who he actually is here. He punched you in the diaphragm and then laughed about it, said he thought you'd be tougher, and then tried to wave off the fact that you were upset that he hurt you, and then threw in the most just kind of bullshit thing of, "I'm so happy this is how we're starting out our new year." That is just some incredibly gross behavior right there, and could definitely potentially be a looking glass into what's to come. Now, the thing is, roughhousing between couples is normal, it's healthy, it's something that's fun. But the moment that something goes too far and someone gets injured, it should be lights out, things are done, comforting partner, figuring out what's going on, apologizing, and just making sure they're okay. You shouldn't need to coax an apology out of your partner after you're injured by them fucking punching you in the diaphragm. He jump scared you gave him a playful shoulder shove, and he did the wind-up diaphragm gut hit. That is not acceptable. And honestly, his backwards definition of roughhousing should definitely be litigated because that is not it, Chief. Also, did he just admit that he punches the dog? Because, like, the thing is, if he's saying he uses more strength on the dog than he does with her, like, I assume he means, like, pinning the dog down or, like, giving it brain wiggles or wiggling it about or just kind of wrestling with the dog. But you're not going to apply that kind of strength into a fucking punch, my man. What the hell? And just because of that very obvious piece of logic, I'm left wondering, are you punching the dog, dude? I almost worry that he's actually just testing the waters to see what he can get away with. Ugh. Hey, buds. Am I overreacting? My boyfriend can't fix things. When I step in to take care of it, he's such a baby about it that I'm ready to dump his ass tonight. We've been together for 2 years, living together for the last 4 months. Our fuel tank ran bone dry. We live in the deep north and rely on fuel for heat. I called in a favor and got our tank filled. My boyfriend put on his overalls, grabbed a multi-tool, and went into the basement to light the furnace. He went up and down the stairs a few times over an hour before sitting at the table to eat. I overheard him calling a friend, asking them to come by with a wrench. I grabbed the socket with a 3/8 bit and quietly sneaked downstairs. Fuel's been out for a couple hours at most. Long story short, I bled the line intermittently in between light ignitions until she ran clear. No air and no foam. No brainer. After 5 minutes, he comes downstairs and says his buddy is on the way with a wrench, and says that I'm doing it wrong, bleeding too much. Sorry for being extra careful not to flood the pump or combust, my guy. I just keep doing what I'm doing, and after a couple minutes, I close the valve, press the button, and she fires up. He said, "You didn't want to try it my way," and storms off. Last week, my truck pan heater plug snapped. It literally just broke at the plug end from the sheer cold. He said he wanted to look after this for me since I've been so busy. 2 days later, he said it can't be fixed and I need to book with a mechanic. I woke up extra early on December 24th and snuck out to the hardware store to grab a plug end. Finished the work in 20 minutes in negative 40 degrees C weather. That's awesome, negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit as well. When I shared with him what I did, I was so excited. I'm pretty handy, but that generally doesn't fall into electrical-based work. He responds with so much disdain. "Oh, good, I was going to do that. I just don't have wire snippers." I was happy to do it, and thanked him for trying anyways. P.S. Neither did I. But I did have some pretty decent Fisk snips, a torch to burn off the rubber casing. His reaction actually hurt me, and put a damper on Christmas morning. I told him the following day that as much as I appreciate his willingness, that I don't need him to do these acts of service, and it actually hurts me when he diminishes my skills and or doesn't even ask me for advice or tools when he's trying to accomplish something. Like, what are you calling a friend for? Your girl, the apparent love of your life and best friend, is just a spit away. And you're in luck, buddy. She's a pretty decent hand. In the last 4 months, there have been so many instances like this. The bathroom exhaust fan, the garage door opener, the lawnmower, the eaves troughs, the iron gate. There's more, I just can't remember them all. Every time it's the same. He tries to fix things of his own volition, doesn't ask for help. We are way beyond soft gestures of recommendations and just shits the bed and stomps around about it. I have tried to work collectively with him too. This is a gong show. He's always making it so personal and taking it so personal. It's not that deep. Information and resources are universal. I just don't get it. And it's not cute. I'm actually starting to become really resentful. Like, why can't he embrace the part of me that is a half grease monkey handy woman? I'm not spending the rest of my life or the rest of my lease, 8 months, pretending to be something I'm not. Sneaking around to hardware stores and walking around eggshells so I don't destroy his masculinity or whatever. I gotta let this one go. Huh. Am I overreacting? Edit. This post is blowing up. To broadly answer the same questions without thinking too deeply, have you communicated your feelings with your boyfriend? To the best of my abilities, I have communicated my feelings. So much that I'm experiencing communication fatigue. But here's the thing. Communication can always improve. Why did you interrupt your boyfriend halfway through potentially fixing it? Because he wouldn't accept my help, and was adamant that he knew how. Because he was trying vice grips to loosen a brass nut, which was disfiguring the nut. Because I refused to wait for his friend to deliver a wrench to help when we have wrenches. Because it was negative 40 degrees Celsius, negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit out there, and dropped from 20 degrees C, 68 degrees Fahrenheit, to 12 C, 53 degrees Fahrenheit, in the time he put on his overalls to the time he was eating a sandwich an hour and a half later. Because the colder air that blows into the choke behind the pump, the harder it is to ignite the pilot light. Because this problem turned into an emergency. Why didn't you just call a mechanic and HVAC guy? Because it's been at negative 40 degrees C for over a month now, and mechanics and HVs are booking 6 to 8 weeks out. Because I don't want to pay a surcharge of $200+ and $150 an hour for something I can do myself. Why are you sneaking around fixing shit and not openly fix shit like a regular human being? To avoid the discomfort I experience in his tantrum. To avoid the part where I'm belittled. To avoid hurting his feelings. The make sure the job gets done. The avoid attempting collaborative teamwork where we have not been successful ever before. To have an opportunity to chill and enjoy the process without having to make room for him emotionally and physically. Also, it's because I'm sick and tired of being undervalued and underappreciated for my knowledge and skills. I don't even want to fight to be heard. I just want to exist peacefully. K? Sounds like not only is he unwilling to learn how to fix things, but he's unwilling to let you fix it because it emasculates him. He would rather get help from his buddy, presumably a guy friend, than ask you for help because, well, I can only unfortunately imagine there's some ego attached to it. For cases like this, when it's an actual emergency to not have heat in your home in negative 40-degree weather, you gotta act fast, and he was not. He's made maintenance around the house somehow a weird competition between the two of you. When a relationship should be a collaborative effort, he's made it antagonistic. That's exhausting. And honestly, if I were you, I'd sit down with him because this is honestly only behavior that you would have encountered if you were living with him. And I would have an honest conversation of just like, I'm tired of dealing with this, and lay out every issue that you're having, and let him know that either these things need to be resolved and you two need to work together in the relationship and not against each other, or the relationship just won't work out. You shouldn't have to hide an aspect of your personality and who you are because it makes him feel uncomfortable and causes him to throw tantrums. He sounds exhausting, and you shouldn't have to put up with that. Wheelie, am I overreacting by throwing away about 1/3 of our pantry food after my in-laws leave? A bit of background. My wife and I grew up in a similar, but not the same socioeconomic class. We both had food-stable homes, but growing up, if the bread had mold on it, my family would throw it away, and her family would cut it off or throw out the moldy bits and eat the rest. Okay, really quick odds insertion here. Never do that. You can actually die from doing that. It's always best that if you see mold on the bread, you treat the entire thing as compromised because of how mold roots itself in with spores. You gotta throw the whole thing out. If you don't, you're actually putting your health at risk. Fast forward to adulthood, and we have different tolerances regarding food cleanliness still. I'm much more picky than she is. I'm just using picky because I don't know a better word, but I don't think I'm picky. We're fortunate enough to have a full fridge and pantry, and we're very food secure. I believe this difference in approach is largely why I get sick maybe 2 times a year, and she doesn't feel well like once every 3 to 4 weeks. Aside from menstrual stuff. Anyway, over the holidays, her parents came and visited, and have, in my opinion, very unhealthy food handling habits. Things like when they're making a bagel and some cream cheese gets on their finger, they'll lick their finger and then get a second bagel out of the bag. No hand washing. They're double dippers and finger lickers, as, for instance, I'm a big believer that if you're going to have some chips from a bag that is not personal, you dump some on a plate and eat that and don't reach into community food. They'll reach into anything, stuff their mouth, and then go back for more. They were here for like 4 or 5 days, and I just want to throw away everything they touched. It just seems easier than trying to discern what is and is not sanitary. My wife thinks I'm being ridiculous. I don't want to eat any of it, and I don't particularly want my kids to either. I'd like to throw it all out. Probably around $150 of stuff to replace, where she thinks it's a waste of money. Am I overreacting? There is an update and I'm curious if it's the advice that I would have given. Update. Had a good conversation with my wife about it all. We took the label it advice and put some marks on most of the items. Some of it was too contaminated for her standards too. There were a few items I didn't catch that she did and had thrown them away throughout the week. There were a few things that she thought I was being petty about, and she's going to keep them for herself. We've been married for 12 years and in a relationship for 15. Communication isn't a problem, we just haven't had the opportunity for open communication with them in the house. As far as the chips go, they'd eat a chip, but like stick their finger all the way in their mouth or at least touching their lips, then back in the bag. If you think that's sanitary, that's not an OCD or me thing. That's dirty. She agreed and threw the chips out. Don't lick your fingers and then reach into communal food. As far as some of you talking about restaurants and such, I made the comment somewhere. I worked in restaurants for a few years and fast food too prior to real restaurants. Some of the restaurants were cleaner and had better food handling practices than others. The ones that had good food handling practices are still open and thriving as far as I know. The ones who had some questionable practices are no longer open. That's not coincidental. Anyway, we worked it out. Thanks for the input. Some items are keepers for her, and some are throwaways for everyone. She agreed it was beyond gross at some points and is going to address it with her family. Yeah, that was pretty much on par with what my recommendation would have been. Rather than throwing the food out, talk with your wife, figure out what things you don't want and what things she still wants, and then go from there. Here's a fun activity for the comments. What's your biggest food pet peeve that you actively have? Or one that you only realized you had after watching someone do it? And I'm not talking about misophonia either, because trust me, I do understand that plight. It is one that I am unfortunately very familiar with. But for me, it's a super minor one that I just think back to occasionally is mixing jars. Like as an example, if you go to make a sandwich or something and you stick your knife in the mayo, and then you go and stick that same knife in the jelly. Ask me how enthused I was to find mayo in my jelly one morning. I know that's a very minor one, but I just want to get the ball rolling. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by Gamersups. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend Gamersups enough. Use code OZ at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.